Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock. It's time for a 5x5. Mondays at 5 o'clock. Mondays at 9 o'clock are always time for a 5x5. This is where I take 5 subjects related to magic. I spend 5 minutes talking about each subject. I move on to the next subject. It's always quick. It's always snappy. You never know what you're going to get. Now, a few weeks ago, I actually did a self-working card trick tutorial special. I love self-working card tricks. I always have, and they've been around for years and years and years. And you know, there's a lot of magicians that shy away from self-working card tricks. They say that you should only use card tricks that require skill, and you want to be pure with sleight of hand. And I disagree with that. I think that used in the right time at the right place, a self-working card trick can really elevate a set of card magic. And the video that I put up a few weeks ago, everybody loved. People really enjoyed the routines that I performed and I taught, and so I'm doing another one. A lot of people in the comments were like, hey, can you do another one of these videos? Can you do another one of these videos? So this is the follow-up. It's another 5 self-working card tricks that you can learn immediately and you can put into your act. These are awesome. They've been around since years gone by, but here's the thing: when people get into magic these days, we're exposed to all the latest and greatest tricks, aren't they? You kind of get into magic, and when I got into magic, it was like there was one trick out every 3 months. So I was forced to read old books and learn tricks like this. Well, these days, people get into magic and it's like they're just bombarded by the latest and greatest tricks. So they kind of miss out on a lot of this stuff. So I'm hoping that a lot of people that watch this maybe haven't seen these tricks before, and it's something that they can learn and they can put into their act. They can show their friends, they can show their family, they can show their, their customers at gigs, magicians at conventions. Here's the thing: magic is meant to be fun. It's meant to be a hobby, and these routines are absolutely fun. Whether you're an amateur, a hobbyist, a professional, semi-professional, this is something that's going to be working for you. So you're going to see 5 tricks, you're going to see 5 performances and 5 explanations of those tricks. The cool thing about these tricks is really there's very minimal setup to any of them. You can literally just immediately perform them. So hopefully you're excited, and what I want you to do is let me know down below if you want to see another one of these videos. Honestly, there's so many self-working card tricks out there. I could do another 7 or 8 of these. If you guys want to see it, I will carry on putting it together. The whole thing about Magic TV is I put the content together that you guys want to see. The content schedule on this channel is dictated by what you guys want and what you don't want. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to start off right now with an incredibly awesome self-working card trick. How you doing, Jack? All right. Good stuff. So I'm going to show you a card trick using a pack of cards. We'll give these a bit of a shuffle first of all. And are you ready to see one of the best card tricks of all time?
It's a bold statement.
It's a bold statement. I am excited to show you this trick. So what I want you to do, you can be the guy with the maths. I want you to start dealing piles of cards. 1, 2, 3, then go back to this one, then this one, this one. So I just want you to start dealing cards. Can you do that for me? There you go. Start dealing cards just like that. 1 into 3 piles. Very good. And then deal again. Excellent. You're doing really well. And you're going to keep dealing cards until you've stopped. And anytime you want to stop, you can stop whenever you feel like it. Okay. I'm going to tell you, we're going to, when you stop, we're going to turn the top 3 cards of the piles over, and they are going to be marker cards that are going to kind of indicate the positions of where you stopped. Do you want to add any more cards onto any of the piles, or are you good?
I'm good.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter what these cards are, but these are our marker cards of where you stopped. Now, can you do me a favor and gather up the piles in any order, just by, boop, boop, boop. Excellent stuff. And what we will do is we will put these on the bottom, and I want you to pick up the pack, and you're going to make 1 more pile. You're going to deal again onto the table and stop anytime you want to.
In freeze again?
Yeah, just in one, just 1 more, because we need 4 cards altogether. We need 4. There, are you sure?
Yep.
You're positive?
Yep.
You don't want any more?
No, I'll do.
Okay, pop those on top. Thank you. So, you would agree that that is completely random.
Must be.
Cards were shuffled, cards were cut. You dealt into 3 piles, I told you you could add more cards if you wanted to. We created 3 indicator cards that indicated 3 positions in the deck where you stopped. You then made a 4th pile. We ended up with 4 indicator cards altogether, which are face up in a face down deck, 4 indicator cards. Each one of these indicates a position in the deck. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Let's do this. So we're going to spread through, and we're going to take the first indicator cards and put them right there. We're going to take the second indicator card and we're going to take the card next to it, okay, which is exactly where you stopped, and we'll put that there. We'll put the third one there, and finally we'll put the 4th one here. Now, just to recap, no one could know what these cards were. If you dealt 1 more card, 2 more cards, would have ended up in a completely different place. Would you agree?
Yep.
But you ended up on this card here, you ended up on this card here, you ended up on this card here, and you finally ended up on this card here. What's interesting is the fact that you ended up on the 1, 2, 3, 4 aces. But you know what? I understand how you did that, Jack. I do. I get it. I get it. I influenced you. But what I don't understand, Jack, what I will never understand, is how we also ended up over here with the 1, 2, 3, 4 kings. Okay, so here's a tutorial for the double 4 of a kind production, which is a super fun routine to perform. It's a great way to produce 2 fours of a kind, which is perfect to go into any routine where you need 2 fours of a kind, a little bit like Reset by Paul Harris, for example. Anything like that. It's a great routine to go into. Now, there is a small setup, okay? And the setup is to take out whatever 4 of a kinds that you want to use. So let's say we're using the kings and the aces. It doesn't have to be the kings and the aces, but let's assume it is. The nice thing about this, it could be any 4 of a kind. And we're going to be using kind of an adaptation of the Gemini twins principle to do this. And the setup is, you're going to put 3 kings on top of the deck in any order. Then you're going to put 3 aces on top of the deck in any order. Then put a king at the bottom of the deck, and finally put an ace at the bottom of the deck. So you have 3 aces, 3 kings, and at the bottom an ace and a king. Put those inside the box and you are ready to go. Now, when you start this, if you want to give the deck a shuffle, you can do. It makes it slightly less self-working, but it's very easy to shuffle these cards and maintain the stack. All you have to do is you just need to make sure that the 2 cards at the bottom drop first in a riffle shuffle, and then you have the 6 cards at the top continue to stay at the top. So the easiest way to do that is to have slightly more cards in this half, drop, make a bed from this packet, and then just make sure that you have a nice big selection of cards that lands on top. So if you want to keep the deck in the same order and give them a shuffle, you can. You can throw in any false cuts that you want to throw in. That's absolutely fine. Or you can just bring the deck out and just show it, and you can just begin. It's totally up to you. When you want to go into the routine, give them the deck. You can deal. In the routine, I dealt, but you can have them deal. Absolutely not a problem. But you get them to deal into 3 piles, going back and forth. Now, if you think about it, this is going to be the ace and the king. This is going to be the ace and the king. This is going to be the ace and the king. So you have them deal, and after they've dealt sort of 2 or 3 cards in each pile, you say, by the way, you can stop any time you want to. Just stop at any point. Now, let's say they stop there. You can say to them that the 3 cards that they've stopped on, you're going to turn face up and they're going to be indicator cards. If you want to, you can throw another couple of cards on. It makes no difference if they do. It makes absolutely no difference. When they're happy, they're going to turn these 3 cards over, and those are going to be their 3 indicator cards. You then tell them to gather the piles up in any order. Makes absolutely no difference. So they gather the cards up, and then you say put the rest of the deck on top, which they do. Now, you're still going to have an ace and a king at the bottom of the deck if you follow along with that. So now what you're going to do is have them deal 1 more pile and stop whenever they want to. Now, you want them to stop before they get to that face-up card. So, you know, you can either tell them that, or as they get closer, you can say, well, just stop before you get to the face-up card. But normally, most people would stop around about there. And you can have them put an extra card on if they want to, or take a card off. It makes no difference. But then they're going to turn that card over as the 4th indicator card. the balance of the deck goes on top. Now, believe it or not, because of the Gemini Twins principle, you are done. And what I mean by that is if you spread these cards out on the table, you are going to have above each indicator card an ace and a king. It works itself. So all you're going to do is spread through the cards. You're going to take all of the cards above the card above the first indicator and put them on the table to the right. That will be a king. You then deal off this card, and you deal it in front of this packet. Now you're just going to repeat that 3 more times. So you spread through, you take all of these cards and put them here, and you take these 2 and put them there. You spread through, you do it again, you put these here, and you spread through and you do it again, and you put these here. So you end up with what looks like this on the table. It feels super fair, but you're done. You're just going to move these indicator cards to one side, take them away. And when you do, you've got this lovely moment where they can turn over these 4 cards and show the 4 aces, and they think that's the end of the trick. But then, as an extra kicker, you can turn over each packet and you can show that you've got the correct kings. You've got the 4 kings as well. Now, if you want to, you can play around with the order. So you can have the cards set up so that these match up. So it would be the ace of hearts and the king of hearts, ace of spades, king of spades. I don't bother, to be honest. I don't think that's needed. But if you put the cards into a matching order, then you can do that no problem. The beautiful thing is you're left with a regular deck of cards, and you've got all of these cards on the table, which means that you can go into any routine that requires 2 sets of 4 of a kind, like I said at the beginning, Paul Harris's reset, or the next trick that I'm going to show you actually uses 4 aces and 4 kings. So if you want to actually go from this into the next routine, you can. Absolutely not a problem. Either way, that's how this one's done. It's very simple. It's very easy to do. Jack, I have a pack of cards here, but this is not about the whole deck. This is just about 8 cards. I already found those 8 cards out earlier. We have the 4 aces and we have the 4 kings. Okay.
Nice.
Some would say that this is one of the most insane things that you're ever going to see. Let me explain why. I'm going to show you all 8 of the cards, and I just want you to think of one. Don't say anything, just think of one.
Okay.
You got it?
Yep.
Don't tell me what the card is. Keep it to yourself, okay? I'm going to take 4 cards in one hand, 4 cards in the other. Don't tell me what the card is, but just tell me, is your card there?
Yep.
Okay. Let's do that again. I'm going to take 4, and I just want you to tell me, is your card there?
Yep.
It is. Okay. Let's do it one last time. Let's have these. Is your card there?
No.
No. Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Cool. So, I couldn't know what your card is because you're just merely thinking of it. I'm going to deal the cards into 2 piles. Like that. And believe it or not, by dealing these cards out like this, that's going to tell me exactly what your card is. Even though you're only thinking of it, it's going to tell me exactly what the card is. This is your card. But the other cards will tell me exactly what your card is without even looking at it. Let me explain. You only thought of a card. The bottom card of this packet is a king. That tells me that you thought of a king. Is that right?
It was a king.
Yeah. The bottom card of this packet is a black card. That tells me you thought of a black card. Is that right?
That is right.
This is technically not a packet. There's only 1 card. But if there was a packet, this would be the bottom card. It's a club. That tells me your card's a club.
It was.
And that means that this has to be your card. So this next routine, in the performance, I actually use the aces and the kings. And the reason I use the aces and the kings is a lot of the time when I'm performing, I'll have used the aces and the kings. I do Paul Harris's reset an awful lot. So I do tend to find that I've got aces and kings in play. This is a really nice thing to throw in as just a very quick piece when I've got 2 sets of 4 of a kind out. But if you want to, you can literally have them name 2 4 of a kind. So you can say to one person, name a 4 of a kind. You can say to the second person, name a 4 of a kind, and you can do it with 2 freely chosen 4 of a kinds. Totally up to you. We'll assume that you're using kings and aces. All you have to do, openly in front of the audience, you take these cards out if they're not already on the table, and you put them into chased order. Okay, now if you don't know what chased is, chase stands for the C and the H from chased is clubs, hearts, and the S and the D is for spades, diamonds. The word chased is a mnemonic to remember the order of the cards. Chased, clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds. Chased, clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds. You put both packets in the same order, and then you put one packet on top of the other. It doesn't matter which one goes on which. You're ready to begin. So what you're going to do now is you're going to spread through, and you're going to have a spectator think of one card. So if I was doing this to Michael, I'd say to Michael, think of a card. And by the way, this is a great one to do over Zoom. It works really well as a virtual trick as well. So you spread them out, make sure they can see all of the cards, and say to your spectator, think of one. So Michael, which one are you thinking of?
The King of Hearts.
Okay, now they can think of any card. So the principle we're using here, it's a little bit like the 21 card trick, but less boring. I hate the 21 card trick. I like this. It's also a little bit binary type thing. It's very fun. All you're going to do is you're going to up jog the cards in the first, third, fifth, and seventh position openly. So they're thinking of a card. You're just going to up jog the first, third, fifth, and seventh card. So every other card gets up jogged. Now, the only thing you need to remember, by the way, you need to remember 3 words. Above, below, above. You're going to do this strip out 3 times. And the first time, the pile with their card in it is going to go above. The second time, it's going to go below. The third time, it's going to go above. So you up jog every other card, first, third, fifth, and seventh position. You pull them out and you say, is your card there? So is your card there, Michael?
No.
No. So because he said no, I know his card has to be in this pile. So remember, you're remembering above, below, above. So the first time, when you square up the cards, the pile with their card in it has to go above. So because he said no, his card's not here, then this pile is going to go above. If he said yes, my card's here, this pile would go above. But because he said his card's not here, this pile goes above. So I know that his card is in this pile. Now I'm going to do it a second time. So first, third, fifth, and seventh card I strip out, and I do the same thing. Michael, is your card there?
Yes.
Yes. Now remember the mnemonic, above, below, above. So the second time, because his card's there, it's going to go below. If he said no, it would go above, because that would mean this pile with his card in it would go below. But you said your card's here, Michael, right?
Yeah.
So this goes below. The final time, you're going to do exactly the same thing. First, third, fifth, seventh card, strip them out, and you say one final time, is your card there, Michael?
No.
No. So remember, it's above, below, above. So because his card isn't there, this pile has to have his card, so that is the one that goes above. If it was the other way around, that one would go above. So that's all I've done. It's above, below, above. But it looks to the spectator like I've just shown them some cards and said, is your card there? It's still impossible for you to know what their card is, because they're thinking of any card and they've not said it out loud. But the nice thing is you're now set for the big finale. Now, if you want to find a way to justify showing them the cards, you can do. Like, you could show them the pile and go, right, tell me, is your card there? And they go, yeah. And you go, okay, I'm just studying your facial language and your body tics. You can do whatever you want to. I do this as a very quick bit. So I just show them and say, is your card there? Is your card there? It's up to you. Presentationally, you can come up with your own way of doing this. Now, all you're going to do is you're going to deal 2 piles of cards, starting on the left and then going to the right. So you're going to go left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And then you're going to take the left-hand pile, and again, you're going to go left, right, left, right. So you're going to have 3 piles of cards. Now, this card here, on the top of this pile, this will be the card they thought of. Is that your card, Michael? Yeah. So this will be your card. So you take this card off, the top card of this pile, and you put it to one side. But you're not going to show that card yet. The other thing that this system does is it's got the bottom card of each pile, working from the right to the left, is going to automatically be set to give you a bit more information about the card. So you turn this packet over and you say, that's a king. That card tells me that your card is a king. Am I right?
Yeah.
And then you turn over this one, you say, this is a red card. That tells me your card's a red card.
Yeah.
This is a heart. That tells me your card's a heart, which means your card must be the king of hearts, and that's what I have here. And that's it. It's just a very, very simple system that allows you to be able to do that, but it feels very hands-off. It feels very fair because they're literally thinking of a card. This is also a great lead-in to a think a card routine. If you do a kind of a think a card routine where you go, well, think of a card, and if you don't know think of a card routine, Nemid Phoenix is the best in the world at doing think of a card, and he's got a course on the Netrix on how to do think of a card. This is a great lead in for that. It's also a great lead into something like Invisible Deck, because you're progressing. You're going from here, you're going from 8 cards through to a whole deck. So think about how you can transition from this routine into something else, but it's super fun. And now we're going to move on. First of all, I went to shuffle the cards, and the reason is, Jack, I'm going to show you the world's greatest card trick. Now, in order to show you the world's greatest card trick, there's certain parameters that need to be hit. First of all, I have to use a regular deck of cards. Second of all, I have to have you shuffle the cards so you know they're in no particular order. That in itself, though, is not all. There's something else you have to do in order to make this the world's greatest card trick. And that's I have to have you pick a card that I couldn't possibly know. Now, the problem with this is if I spread the cards out like this and I have you take one, if I hold my hands like this, I'm guiding you towards the middle of the deck. I'm forcing you into this position. Likewise, if I have you say stop like this,
Stop.
I'm stopping you in about the middle. It just happens automatically. If I riffle my thumb and have you say stop,
Stop.
you'll typically say stop in the middle. If I spread the cards out like this, I can have you pick a card from a very small range. Even if I have you think of a card, psychologically there's certain cards that are more popular than others. Most people think of a Queen of Hearts or an Ace of Spades. The Queen of Hearts is so popular, it's actually tattooed on my arm. So we have to make sure that the card that you pick is very, very fair. And there's no way I can know what it is. And there's a way that we're going to do that. What I want you to do is you're going to cut off a small packet of cards, less than 20. Okay, so I'll look away, you cut off a small packet of cards. Have you got them?
Yep.
Now, I don't want to know what the cards are. What I'm going to have you do is I'm going to give you the card box. There's nothing inside the card box. And I want you to count, when I look away, I want you to count how many cards that you've got. Remember that number and then put the cards inside the box.
Okay.
And close the box up. Count quietly, because if you count really loud, I'm going to hear the number. I don't want to know what the number is. I'll look away. Now, there's a couple of reasons I get you to do this. And the first reason is it allows you to randomly create a random number in your head. A lot of the time, if you have someone just think of a number, they'll go for 7, 13, even though it's considered unlucky, is a very popular number. By you doing this, there is absolutely no way that I could know the number that you picked. By putting the cards inside the box, you are committed to that number. You can't change your mind because we know that the amount of cards inside the box is the number you're thinking of. Do you have a number?
Yep.
Is it less than 20?
Yep.
Good. I'm going to show you 20 cards from the deck, and I'm going to show you them one at a time, and I'm going to count each card. Remember the card that falls at the number you're thinking of. So, for example, if you thought of 1, you would think of the 5 of clubs. 2 would be the 5 of hearts. 3 would be the 6 of diamonds. 4 would be the 4 of hearts, and so on and so forth. Let me go through all 20 cards, because if I get to your card and you go, got it, I'm going to know what your card is. So I'm going to go through all 20 cards. Just remember the card that falls at your number. I'm also going to look this way so people don't think I'm studying your face and looking at facial tics and body language. Not that I would ever want to study your face. Right, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to count the cards now. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Do you have a card?
Yep.
Wonderful. Could I know what that card is or where it is?
Don't see
I don't know the number. I couldn't possibly know the card. There's nothing I could do. If I could know that card, if I could find out what that card is at this point, that would probably make this the world's greatest card trick. Would you then therefore say, if this was the world's greatest card trick, I would be considered the world's greatest magician?
I don't know.
No,
Should I say that?
it would, no. I think it would, right? If I'm doing the world's greatest card trick, Michael, if I could find his card with these parameters, that would make me the world's greatest magician.
Definitely.
Yeah, but let's ask the cards. Let's ask the cards. Who? WHO. Who is IS? Who is the THE? who is the world's, W-O-R-L-D apostrophe S, because grammar is important, who is the world's greatest, G-R-E-A-T-E-S-T, magician, M-A-G-I-C-I-A-N. Well, it looks to me like the cards are pointing towards me. That says that I am, without a shadow of a doubt, the world's greatest magician. But not only that, they're also pointing to one card and one card only, the top card of the deck. Jack. What was the name of your card?
Ace of clubs.
And like I said, I genuinely am the world's greatest magician. Okay, so the next routine is as old as the hills. It's called the world's greatest magician. This has been around since time began, but it amazes me how many times I do this at magic conventions and nobody has ever seen it before. This is one that for some reason is very, very underground, even though it's very, very old. And it's a super fun routine. All you need to make sure of for this trick to work is that you have 52 cards. There cannot be any jokers, there can't be any cards missing, you can't have a duplicate in there, you have to have 52 cards. If you have 52 cards, then you're fine. So what you're going to do is you're going to have the spectators shuffle the cards, and you're ultimately going to get them to cut off some cards and count the number. The important thing is you have to justify this, because it's kind of an odd way of having them pick a card. You know, why you're not just going pick a card? Why you're not having them think of a card? So if you look back at the presentation I did with Jack, the beginning part of the presentation was all about justifying why I'm going this route. I want to show you the world's greatest card trick. I need to make sure that you've got a free choice of card. Well, the only way to make sure that you've got a free choice of card is if I have you pick a card in a very fair way. I go through various different ways that cards can be picked, and I point out why they're not fair. I'm justifying the procedure that I have to go through. Because procedure isn't great, but it's not a problem as long as you justify why you're doing it. So you're going to have them cut off less than 20 cards. So let's say they cut off here. And then you have them silently count the amount of cards that they cut to. And so in this case, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And you have them put those cards inside the box. Okay? So that's all done with you looking away. You go cut off any amount of cards, count the number, put those cards inside the box. And I say the reason I want you to put the cards inside the box is because that commits you to that number. You can't change your mind. Whatever number of cards are in here, that's your magic number. That's the justification for putting them back in the box and not putting them back on top of the deck. Now at this point, if you want to, you can have them shuffle the cards again. It absolutely makes no difference. And all you're going to do is you're going to show them the cards one at a time. And it's very important that you explain this very clearly so they understand what they've got to do. You say, look, is your number less than 20? Yes. So I'm going to show you the cards one at a time. Remember the card that falls in that number. So if you're thinking of 1, that would be the 5 of hearts. 2 would be the 3 of spades. 3 would be the jack of hearts. You get the idea. And then you say, I'm going to look this way. Let me go through all 20 cards. Okay. So the number, can you remember the number, Michael? Was it? No, me neither. Hang on, let me just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14. So you're going to show them the cards like this. You're going to go 1, 2, but you're looking away. 3, 4. Don't rush it. Don't go 1, 2. You want to make sure they can see each one, but don't go too slowly because it gets boring. It's just 1, 2, 3. The other thing is make sure that you're not reverse counting them. Make sure that you're taking each one under the next. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So in this case, they'd be thinking of the 2 of diamonds. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. When you get to 20, you say, have you seen a card? And they go, yes. So all of these cards go underneath the packet. This will not work if you put them on top. All of these cards go underneath the packet. Now, believe it or not, the principle here is now going to work. If you spell out who is the world's greatest magician, making sure there's an apostrophe in there, you will always get to the spectator's card. It's kind of weird how it works, but it always works every single time. As long as you put those cards underneath, it's going to work. Now, I do it as if I'm making an arrow pointing to myself. So I say I'm going to deal the cards on the table, one card for each letter. We're going to spell out who is the world's greatest magician. So I go W-H-O, who, I-S, is, the, T-H-E. Who is the world's, W-O-R-L-D, apostrophe S. And that gives me my line. Now, greatest, G-R-E-A-T-E-S-T. Greatest, that's one part of the arrow. Magician, M-A-G-I-C-I-A-N. Who is the world's greatest magician? Now, believe it or not, that's going to leave their selected card here, which is insane. But you've got this really nice moment here. Where you have the arrow pointing towards you and you go, well, it shows that I'm the world's greatest magician, but it's also pointing towards this card. What was your card? 2 of diamonds, nailed it. Really strong moments. Now, if you don't use the apostrophe, and you'll have one card on top, you'll have one card less. If you want to throw in a little bit of sleight of hand, a couple of different options here. You can turn this card over if you've not got the apostrophe and you go, is that your card? And they go, no. And you can do a shapeshifter change or a twirl change to change it into their card. The other thing you can do is if you have got the apostrophe, you can do a double turnover at this point and say, right, the 9 of hearts, was that your card? And you go, no. And you go, well, hang on a minute. If I really was the world's greatest magician, I could change that into the 2 of diamonds. So there's a few different ways of incorporating sleight of hand into it if you want to create an extra moment of magic. But in all honesty, this is so super strong and it just works itself. As long as you make the presentation engaging and as long as you justify the process that you have to go to get to that point, then this is one of the strongest self-working card tricks that you can do. Jack, this is a really simple one. I want you to take the cards and just give them a shuffle, give them a really quick mix. And then when you've shuffled them, pass them me back. Actually, no. Let's only use 10 cards. That makes it easier. When you shuffle, just deal 10 cards onto the table.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Lovely. And we'll put the rest of the cards in the box. And do you want to give those 10 cards a shuffle as well, just to make sure they're in no particular order?
Isn't it?
There you go. You good?
It's a bit hard to struggle.
That's fine. You're doing great. We good?
Yep.
So I'm going to have you think of one of these cards, but the caveat is I want you to think of a card and I want to think of the position that it is here. So I will look away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You should be thinking of a card and the position that it's at.
Yep.
Are you thinking of a card? No way I can know what the card is, right?
Nope.
I'm going to give the cards one cut. Now, what that cut will do is that will change the position of every single card in the packet. I mean, you shuffled them anyway, but now no card is in the same packet. Now, I'm not going to touch those cards from now on. In a second, you're going to take them underneath the table so I can't see them. Whatever the number is, you're going to take that many cards from the top and put them to the bottom one at a time. So if you were thinking of the card at position number 1, you'd take one card and put it to the bottom. If you're thinking of 2, you'd put one card to the bottom, then the second card to the bottom. You get the idea?
Yep.
So that it randomizes it even more. So take those cards, put them under the table. I'll look this way. Now think about this for a minute. While he's doing that, seriously think about this for a minute. First of all, Jack shuffled the cards. Then Jack chose which 10 cards to take out. Then Jack just merely thought of the card and the position in the deck. That position is his magic number. Then I cut the cards randomly, and now he's used that magic number to put the card in a completely different position. No one at all could know where that card is. Would you agree?
Yep.
So now I'm going to teach you a deal. It's an Australian deal. It's called the Down Under deal. Down Under, Australian, obviously. Another name for it is called the Duck and Dive deal. Have you ever heard of it before?
No.
Okay. It's very simple. Hold the cards. What you have to do, you have to take one card and put it to the bottom of the packet and deal the next card onto the table. See, down under. And again, next card underneath, next card onto the table. Next card underneath, next card to 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 the table. You're doing great. Next card underneath, next card to the table. Next card underneath, next card to the table. Next card underneath, 6 cards to the table, that leaves you with 1. Don't look at it just yet. What you just did is eliminated all of these. Now, like I said, you thought of the card, you shuffled the card, you created a magic number, but I couldn't possibly know where the card is or where it is or what it was. But you've ended up with 1 card yourself. I've not even touched the cards. What was the name of your card?
Jack of diamonds.
Have a look.
Hey.
Absolute miracle. Okay, so this is a very simple adaptation of the down under deal, otherwise known as the duck and dive deal. If you haven't heard of that deal, the idea is you put 1 card under the packet, you put the next one on the table. 1 card goes under, next one goes on the table. You don't see many people using it. I use it for an awful lot of stuff. I first learned it, I think, from Simon Lovell from his VHS tape set from Repro Magic. Yes, VHS, I am that old. His VHS tape from Repro Magic, where he, I think it was Easy Card Magic for Beginners or something, and he included a couple of things with the down under deal on there, and I've been using it ever since. This is a very simple adaptation of it. You're going to have them shuffle the cards. It's a regular deck of cards. You're going to have them shuffle the pack and then take 10 cards out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you're going to have them shuffle these cards. So they shuffle the 10 cards and you say, I want you to think of one of the cards, but think of the position that the card lands in as well. So you look away and you're going to go 1, 2 and show them the 10 cards. Now it's really important that each card is taken underneath the next one and you show all 10 cards and you show them long enough for them to remember the card. So I'm going to look away. You're going to, I'll do this on Michael. So Michael, just remember a card and remember the position it is in the packet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Have you got one?
Yeah.
Now what's really cool about this is you have no idea what the card is or where it is. It makes no difference. This is going to work itself. You spread the cards out and all you're going to do is you say, let me give these cards a cut, and I'm just going to take the top 5 cards and cut them to the table. So I'm cutting the cards in exactly half. As long as you do that 1 cut, it's going to work. So you do the 1 cut, it works itself. You then tell them to take the cards behind their back, take them under the table, turn round so you can't see, and you're going to have them, whatever their magic number is, which is the position their card was originally, you're going to have them put that many cards to the bottom, 1 by 1. Okay? And it's really important that you point out that their magic number is unique to them, because you know, they remember the card at that position. If somebody else remembered a card, it would have been a completely different number. And you also point out that by you cutting the cards, it changes the position of every card in the pack. So now, what number was your number, Michael?
6.
6. So under the table, he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then he brings the cards out. And now all they have to do is a down under deal, a duck and dive deal, and they're going to end up with their card as the last card. It's crazy how it works, but it always works. Look, so you go under, you go to the table, and you keep doing this. Now you can do this deal if you want to, or you can get the spectator to do it. It's completely up to you, but just make sure that they're doing it correctly, because if they don't do the duck and dive correctly, it won't work. And also make sure that the first card goes underneath, then the next card goes onto the table, not the other way around. Michael, what was your card?
King of Hearts.
Works every single time. It's completely self-working. As long as you do that cut, make sure you do the cut 5 cards. And like I say, cutting 5 cards is simple because you can just spread the cards out, you sight 5, and you just cut like that, and it's going to work itself every single time. There's a lot of other applications of the duck and dive deal, the down under deal. There's a lot of other things you can do with it, but this is a really simple application. Now, here's a question for you, Jack. Did you know that a deck of cards is a lot like a diary?
What, it just goes on forever?
No, seriously, a lot of people don't realise this, so let me explain. A deck of cards has 2 colours. It has red and it has black. That is the equivalent of day and night. A deck of cards has 4 suits: clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, and there's 4 seasons in a year: spring, summer, autumn and winter. There's 13 cards in each suit going from ace through to king, and there's 13 lunar cycles in a calendar year. If you take all of the court cards and you add them up, that's 12 court cards, which is the amount of months in a year. There's 52 cards in a deck. There's 52 weeks in a year. And here's the crazy one. If you add up all of the cards in a deck of cards, so you go 6 add 1 is 7, add 10 is 17, add 2 is 18. If you go all the way through, you get to 364, which is the amount of days in a leap year. And if you add the Joker, that becomes 365, which is the amount of days in an average year. So this is a lot like a diary. Shuffle the cards. We're going to try and do something, not necessarily with dates, but with time.
With time?
Yeah. And it involves you mixing up those cards and then dealing 12 cards on the table, and just face down. And the reason I want to deal 12 cards is because there are 12 months in a year.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
12 months in a year, but also 12 hours in a day. Correct?
Pretty sure there's 24 hours in a day.
Sorry, 12 hours in the day and then 12 hours at night. Yeah, a clock has 12 numbers on it from 1 through to 12. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give those cards a shuffle for me very quickly, just so you know they're in a random order. And then when you've done that, what I'd like you to do is just take any one of these cards. This card is going to represent you. Okay? So take a card that you want to represent you. There you go. When you've got the card show on, that card is now you.
Yep.
And just pop it back. And we'll leave that card down in the middle to make sure that it is definitely lost. Now, one other thing that we need to do, Jack. I want you to, in a second, I'm going to look away. I want to cut off some cards from these 12. Count how many cards you cut off and put them inside the box. Okay? But when you count quietly so I don't know what that number is. Okay? I'll look away. Just cut some cards off. It's up to you however many. Count the amount of cards that you've got there and put those cards inside the box. And the reason they go in the box is so that I can't possibly know that number that you're thinking of. All I do know is it's less than 12, which is why I don't want to think of that number as a number, Jack. I want to think of that number as an hour of the day. So if you cut off one card, that would be 1 o'clock. 2 cards would be 2 o'clock, so on and so forth. Can you do that for me?
Yep. Does that AM or PM matter? Or?
Nah, not really. Because we're going to mix these cards up a bit, and then we're going to create a clock with a deck of cards.
Nice.
Watch. 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
It's an interesting looking clock.
Yeah, it's an interesting clock. And what hour? You were thinking of an hour. I couldn't possibly know what that hour is. We're going to do an experiment in coincidence. What's the hour that you're thinking of?
6.
6. If you cut off less cards, it would have been a different hour. If you cut off more cards, it would have been more. 6 o'clock, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's that card right there. That represents the 6 o'clock position. If you'd have cut one more card, it would have been the 7 here, which is the 10 of diamonds. Now, that was not your card, was it? If you cut one less card, it would have been a 5 o'clock there, which is the 9 of hearts. That's not your card. Now, obviously, I don't know what your card is. It could be any one of these. It could be any one of these. Or it could be any one of these in the deck. But here's the thing, you could have picked any card. You could have selected any time. You selected 5 o'clock. What was the name of your card?
Jack of spades.
That is a coincidence. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
That is crazy. Okay, so let's talk about the clock principle. There's a bunch of routines. In fact, I could probably do a 5x5 just on routines with the clock principle. If you want me to do that, let me know in the comments down below. But this is a really simple application of it, using a deck of cards. Now, I used a small amount of sleight of hand in this presentation because I actually control the card to the top, but I'll show you what to do if you don't want to control the card to the top. Okay, so you start off. I like to talk about how a deck of cards is a lot like a diary, and if you want to go down that route, you can do. But ultimately, you're going to have them shuffle the cards and then deal 12 cards to the table. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You then have them shuffle the 12 cards and you have them take one of these cards. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to have them take the card. So let's say they take this one, which is the Jack of Clubs. In the presentation, I took that card and I put it on top. I put it into the middle, and I just did a running cut to the break to control it to the top. And then I did a shuffle, keeping that card on top of the deck. Ultimately, you need that selected card right there on the top of the deck. Now, if you don't want to do a card control, what you can do is you can have them deal 13 cards, have them shuffle the 13 cards, and have them take any one of the 13 cards, look at it, and put it on top of the deck. So you can have them take one of those cards and put it on top of the deck, and you say that leaves us with 12 cards. I personally prefer the card control, but it's up to you. You end up in the same place ultimately at the end of the day. I just think it's a little bit more deceptive to have the card controlled to the top. I just think that's a bit more deceptive. But ultimately, you've got their selected card on top of the deck, and you've got these 12 cards over here. So you say to them, I want you to think of a random hour by cutting some cards off, counting the amount of cards you cut off and putting them in the box. So in this case, I cut 4 cards off, so I'd remember 4, and the cards go back in the box, and you tell them that the cards go in the box because that commits them to that hour. You then tell them to put the rest of the cards on top of the deck, and they do. What's really fair about this is you don't know what their card is, and you don't know where it is. You know it's near the top, but you don't know where it is because you don't know how many cards they cut off, and you genuinely don't. Now, the other thing that I did when I was doing this performance is I did a few false cuts at this point to make it look like everything was completely mixed. So if you know some false cuts, you can do that. That's absolutely not a problem. They are taught on the Netrix. A very simple false cut that you can do is the JOC false cut, which is where you just cut you cut a third of the packet to the left, then a third of the pack into the middle, and then the rest of the cards go over there, and then you put the left-hand packet onto the right-hand packet, and you put both of those over here. It looks like it's cut the cards, but in reality it's kept the deck in exactly the same order. That is a self-working false cut. If you want to throw a false cut in at that point, you can. You don't have to. You then pick up the deck and you say that you're going to build a clock. Now, the important thing is that you go from 12 o'clock and you work back to 1 o'clock. If you don't do this, it won't work. If you start at 11 o'clock, it won't work. If you start at 12 o'clock and move to the right, it won't work. It will only work if you start at 11 o'clock and work backwards. Sorry, 12 o'clock and work backwards. So 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. You put the rest of the deck over here, and you say to them, what was the hour that you were thinking of? And they're going to say 4. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, this will be their card. But before you show it, you can say if you thought of 3 o'clock, it would have been here. 5 o'clock would have been here. 6 o'clock would have been here. If you'd thought of a different hour, you would have ended up on any one of these cards. But to be honest, your card might be in here. I don't know. What was the name of your card? And they tell you, and you turn it over, and you've got an absolute miracle. That is a super awesome self-working card. So there you go, guys. That's another video in the bag. Another 5x5 in the bag. Do me a favor. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, what did you think of those card tricks? Are you going to learn them? Are you going to perform them? Are there some that you already perform? Let me know in the comments down below. And would you like to see another one of these videos? If you would, let me know in the comments down below. If you want to see more videos like this, like I said, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't already done so, go check out the Netrix. It's www.thenetrix.com. That's www.thenetrix.com. It's my online streaming platform for magicians, and you can go in there and you can learn a ton of magic almost immediately. There are thousands of tricks up there, and we add more every single week. But thank you very much for watching. I will see you again soon. My name's Craig, and this is Magic TV.